Today I'm going to be talking about the 5-year stretch of time in my life that I used to make these horribly cringy, spinny 3D intros that were seen at the beginning of thousands of YouTube videos back in 2015. But this video is also more than that. This is the story of a different time on YouTube. A story of a cottage industry that formed at the feet of gaming content. A story of a bunch of preteens that learned high-level VFX software that has been used for CGI in movies nowadays. This is the story of a strange time in my life that only a few random people on the internet know about, but changed my life nonetheless. Let's talk about my time as an intro maker. That's how it starts. Also, this video is a bit of a companion video to my last video where I talked about how I got 95,000 subscribers, 20 million views, and $7,500 on YouTube when I was only 12 years old. So check that out if you want to, but you totally don't need to enjoy this video. Let's get right into it. So after years of loving Minecraft YouTube videos, I had made my own channel where I would post Minecraft and gaming content. And it got huge. But I was missing something. Something that every legit, noteworthy, professional YouTuber had. An intro. Yes, I needed something classy, professional, simple, so that people would know that they could take my channel seriously. Okay, well that may have been a bit to you guys nowadays. That thought process of thinking that I needed to have an intro that looked like that to be taken seriously was exactly my mindset when I was 13 making Minecraft videos. Funnily enough though, it seemed like everyone in the gaming community had the same mindset because people all the way from MineBoss4578 to SkyDoes Minecraft all had intros like that at the time. But instead of buying some $5 intro from somebody's Selfie page like a chump, I thought to myself, maybe I can make this stuff on my own. And after my big break on YouTube, which allowed me to get a sick desktop computer, I did what anybody in my position would do. I pirated After Effects and Cinema 4D and began learning how to animate an intro. Cinema 4D is a 3D modeling, rendering, and simulation software that has been used in movies such as Avengers, Pacific Rim, and Inception. Now, After Effects, on the other hand, has probably had a part in almost every modern movie, animation, or video with graphics that you can think of. It is the VFX software that any professional uses. It is incredible. And if you can't tell, I'm a bit of a fan of After Effects. I learned everything that I know to this day of these programs entirely from YouTube tutorials. I had the brazen confidence and the open-mindedness that only comes when you're really young that I could learn these two very advanced programs. And somehow I did. Not all at once, of course, but what started as this turned into this. And then slowly but surely, I was able to make my text look better, my camera got a bit better, my materials, my background, my sync. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm losing people with 3D intro mumbo jumbo. Let's not kid ourselves. I wasn't producing high art or anything. I was making camera zoom around text in space with lights and colors. But if you are able to look past the cringe of it all, these 3D spinning text intros were fun as hell. And as I got better and better, it became so fun to be able to combine my favorite dubstep songs at the time with whatever insane visual that I could think of. So I continued to get better and better, and after a few intros, I decided to make an entire channel completely dedicated to intro videos. And that channel was called CheesyGFX. GFX being graphics, which is funny because I really never made still graphics, I only made videos, but oh well, 13-year-old brain. And as I improved, I suddenly was met with a whole new audience and community that loved watching and making intros of their own. And seemingly overnight, I went from a tiny channel with 0 subscribers to one with over 1,000 intro fans. I also graduated from literally giving out intros for free to anybody who commented on my video to opening my own online shop where I sold intros for a whopping $5 to $10. And at the time, the average intro took me around 3 to 4 hours to be conservative to make, making my average wage a cool $2 an hour. But who was I kidding? I wasn't in this business to make money. Wait, why was I in this business again? Well, we'll get back to that. As quickly as my channel gained subscribers, I was suddenly invited to hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of Skype group chats. Yes, kids, I existed in a pre-Discord era, and it was frightening. So after I was able to sift through the cyberbullying, racism, homophobia, and slurs of a 2013 Skype group chat, it was really cool to see so many other people, similarly aged to me, all getting into making intros at the same time. 10 years later, looking back at it now, this is still one of the craziest parts. Like, how did we all at the same time, at the same age, be like, I want to start making 3D spinny intros? Like, this legion of 1,000 12-year-old intro makers using professional animation software literally spawned out of nowhere. But the growing community of intro makers was only a subset of an even greater movement at the time of editors, motion designers, and animators that also appeared seemingly out of nowhere in the early 2010s. In other communities, you had the Minecraft animators, the Call of Duty montage editors, MLG editors who were making fun of the montage editors, a genre which helped grow huge creators such as H3H3 Productions and Pyrocynical. What else? We had video editors, motion designers, graphic designers creating banners and profile pictures for YouTubers. All of these little micro industries seem to have spawned out of nowhere. And I personally know so many people, and I mean hundreds of people, who were in intro or adjacent communities that have turned into professional animators, filmmakers, or web designers now. And one I will mention is Justin Kamanuma, sorry if I'm butchering that name, who went from editing Call of Duty clips like this to becoming a filmmaker who has worked with artists like Vance Joy, Earthgang, Snakehips, and all of these other names. But before I get too ahead of myself, I think it's important to talk about how this micro industry was started in the first place. Let's talk about, where did this all come from? Now, industries usually sprout up when there is a new demand, and the demand for all kinds of editors and animators really began to rise when gaming on YouTube rose to all-time highs in the early 2010s. This is of course due to YouTube's algorithm changing from showing you videos with most clicks on videos to ones with the most watch time, something that I touched on in more detail in my previous video. But this little algorithmic shift, this seemingly tiny change, allowed for thousands of jobs and hobbies and a whole new industry of people supporting the new popular content to exist. Like, without this algorithmic shift, there's a good chance I would have never gone into motion design or animating in the first place, and same with hundreds of other people. But mind you, while job creation is super cool, the inverse can also happen, and has happened, when YouTube decides it likes a different type of content and people lose their jobs. This has actually been happening recently with YouTube's pivot to short form content, actually making it harder for medium to large creators to keep up with the new content types and the shifting algorithm. This has led people like Game Theory's MatPat, Tom Scott, and many others to retire, often forcing their network of editors, animators, scriptwriters to find new jobs. Okay, sorry, I love nerding out about YouTube. I could go on forever, but let me get back to the story. Once I had learned the formula for making intros, I started just pumping them out at an insane rate. There was a time in my life where I was making 4 to 5 intros a week. I would come home from school, hop on my computer, and just start grinding. I was a Sigma child before being a Sigma was a thing, so suck on that, Gary Vee. As I got more and more popular, I raised my prices for making intros. Money-wise, I made at least $750 from what I could track down, most of which came over a 3-year period where I produced over 300 different intros. And while $750 may seem like a good amount of money, and it was a lot for me at the time, when you consider I had put in at least 1,000 hours, it wasn't insanely economical, to say the least. Okay, a few more fun facts about intros that I need to get off my chest because this is the only time that I'll ever be able to say them. 3D intros always involve 2 elements: Cinema 4D text and After Effects, effects, sync, and background. We all did this thing called duels, where one person would do Cinema 4D and then the other person would do After Effects. There's also mass duels, where one person would make a kick-ass Cinema 4D and then tens or even hundreds of people would make their best After Effects for it. There's even a running After Effects contest called AEC, where they would give you the Cinema 4D for something, and tons of people would compete to have the best After Effects. Also, much like a video game, there was teams of intro makers and editors posters that would be made, and we would recruit people using things called recruitment challenges, or RCs, where they had to make an intro for our team, and then we would pick the best ones. Now, what would we do when everyone was recruited? I literally don't know. It was completely pointless. Minecraft was always closely related to the intro making scene, and lots of people that were making intros were also making Minecraft intros. I got into it for a bit, but I was not great compared to other people. Minecraft intros was also a really easy pivot for a lot of people to go into just animating regular people, as all the movements were exactly the same. It's just a different skin on it, basically. Now, big revelations were had when people figured out that you could plug in audio into Cinema 4D and create music syncs in Cinema 4D. And another big one was when people figured out that you can add cubes or lines or other bullshit that made your Cinema 4D look cooler. Also, bounce syncs were huge. They made the beat feel even punchier using time remapping for the syncing. You don't have to understand it, it's not important. Scans were also rampant as we were all dumb children with emerging talent as editors, so lots of people tried to take advantage. I almost fell for one. This was also a different time on YouTube where I had no shame, and I would put things like 35 likes or active in brackets in the actual title, and even worse than that, it actually worked insanely well, and these videos steadily outperformed videos that I wasn't like begging in the title. By the end of my intro making career, there ended up being 5 different classes of intros. There's the classic 3D spinny intro, Minecraft intros, there was 2D intros that were just in After Effects, and then there's these 2.5D intros, which was like 2D with a sync. Not to flex, but I actually made probably the first and only 2.75D intro, combining Minecraft, 2D, and 3D spinny text intro. And then there was also overlay intros where you'd have their video in the background and the intro would just come up on that background. It's really too bad that this is some of the knowledge that still has real estate in my brain and probably will forever. Since I also have no other place to show it, here's my favorite 3D intro I've ever done.
Hard to find. Hops in his car, that's a bad blessing. Long night ahead, now she's mad stressing.
And here's my favorite 2D intro I've ever done. Eventually, I would be one of the first intro makers, not the first, but one of the first, to venture into the realm of 2D intros. As I mentioned earlier, these were made exclusively in After Effects and had much more professional aura to them. Well, I mean, anything would have more of a professional aura compared to this shit. But the 2D intro community was much smaller, and the group of friends that I made here, I still keep in contact with to this day. A lot of them are doing some really cool stuff right now. Also, I forgot to mention that sometime during the 3D intro part of my career, I changed my name from CheesyGFX to CheesyVFX, and then when I switched to 2D, I changed my name to Yellow, with no vowels, because I'm modern and slick. But the transition to 2D was a window for me to get out of making intros. I was 16 at this point, and I wanted to do bigger, more interesting projects. I got into making lyric videos and animated music videos, typography, and I made videos for a lot of small to medium-sized artists. Now, I did make these new videos for a lot more money, but the time to money ratio was still very weighted on the time side. But eventually I used these videos to build my resume to a point where I was able to land an editor job at Disrupt, a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers where I work intermittently with a team of editors to help make high quality documentary videos to this day. And I'm still far away from the peak of my editing career, at least I hope so. And I still don't make enough money to completely live off of it. But the skills that I learned making these stupid 3D spinny intros, I ended up using in my lyric videos, animated music videos, edits, and even the visuals that you are seeing on this channel today. Just like the last video, I think it's cool to take both a zoomed in personal look at your life story and then juxtapose it to this macro version of YouTube as a whole and how so many other people were experiencing and feeling the exact same things at the same time as me. It's through this process that I start to realize two important truths. One is that my story does matter immensely to me, and it's valuable and important, and it totally means something. But at the same time, I am just one speck of dust being blown this way or that way alongside a bunch of other specks of dust. And while I feel like my story is different, and I am a special little snowflake, there are so many other people with the exact same experience as me for the exact same reason. And that's just life. And it's beautiful. Okay, it's gotten to the point of the video where I'm LARPing as a philosopher, so better wind this one down. Thank you for watching. New video essay goodness coming soon. I have so many ideas I can't wait to share with you guys. Okay, peace out. Bye.